Good morning. My name is Carla and this is Paisley, and we are going to get ready together for you today. So Paisley has naturally beautiful eyes and really good hair and great coloring, so her makeup application will be minimal. However, Mommy needs a little more help. You're only 2. Mommy's 52. Yes, that's right. So we eat breakfast together every morning. When I say we eat breakfast together, that means she eats 75% of the banana and I get about 25% of the banana. So as you can see, all she needs to do to get ready is to be combed out. So I'm going to show you how to comb a Yorkie out today. And I'm going to tell you all about Paisley's story, because she's pretty special. But before we get into Paisley's story, we have to talk about the Yorkie that started it all for me, and that was Rocky. So while I get ready today, we're going to talk about Rocky. I know we're not talking about you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But we'll talk about you the next time. Okay, you can go back to sleep. There you goes. So, today we're going to be using a new foundation and all drugstore products. I have a different lighting setup, so please let me know how that works for you. And I'm still trying to get used to looking at the little dot instead of at the screen at myself. So please forgive me as I just continue to try to learn and get better. And let's start with our scents of the day. So my scent is Coca Cabana. This is from Sol de Janeiro, and it is a little less intense than, you guys have got to see this, she's burrowing down over here. Yeah, I made my bed. Paisley's messing up the bed. Okay, sorry for that little interruption. This is lighter than the Boom Boom Cream. It has a obviously coconutty smell, and it's a little bit different than the Victoria's Secret Coconut Passion, which is my favorite. I really enjoy this. It's just a lighter scent and it doesn't tend to offend people. We're going to start with Milani eyeshadow primer today. I did not do my color corrector first so that you guys could see that too. So growing up, we had several acres, and my parents always had animals. We had chickens, turkeys, geese, ducks, quail, usually had a dog, cats. I wasn't totally into pets and animals at the time. I was more into Def Leppard, rock and roll, seeing how high I could pile my bangs up on the top of my head, seeing how many coats of mascara I could get out of the door with without Mom making me wash it away. So wasn't really into animals when I was a teenager. After I left home, my parents really got into animals. This is the LA Girl color corrector. They started getting dogs. They loved Great Danes, Dachshunds, Basset Hounds, and they would go to Southwest Georgia hunting a lot during the winter. So when they did, they asked me to take care of their animals. And that's when I really kind of started getting attached to the dogs. Moms, they just know you better than you know yourself. And my mom she knew I needed a dog in my life because I didn't have any children and I needed something to take care of besides me. So she started trying to get me connected with the dog. My husband, that primer, by the way, is the NYX Plump It Right Back. I like it a little bit better than the e.l.f., the sticky e.l.f. It's not as sticky, it smells good, and it's a little more hydrating. So that was the NYX Plump It Back Serum. So one day she called me, it was a Thursday, and she volunteered for the Humane Society. So she said, there is a Yorkie, full-blooded Yorkie His family surrendered him because they had to move. He's going to be in this cold cage all by himself all weekend. She really tugged at my heartstrings and she said, would you like just to foster him for the weekend? And I talked to my husband about it. I think my husband knew where this was going. I think I knew this was going. I think we both just kind of knew what she was up to. So I agreed to foster the dog for the weekend, and I figured, sorry, I just dropped all my stuff again. I figured if it didn't work out, it was just a weekend, and at least the dog had a comfortable, safe home. This is the new foundation I'm wearing. It is the NYX Bear With Me Blur Foundation. It's supposed to be more of a full coverage foundation. I'm using my BK Beauty 101, my favorite foundation brush. So I went to the Humane Society and I picked up this little bitty 5-pound scruffy thing. I knew nothing about Yorkies, didn't really know anything about dog breeds. He was as cute as he could be, and brought him home. He was not potty trained. That was difficult when you're not used to dealing with that and you don't know very much about dogs. Because he wasn't potty trained on the Sunday, my husband insisted that we put him in the laundry room. And so we went to church, and I rushed back first just in case he had an accident, because I didn't want my husband to see that and be all upset. And sure enough, poor thing, he had been in the laundry room, and I guess being in there by himself didn't do him much good, and he had an accident. So I had it almost cleaned up when my husband came home. My husband came in, and instead of being mad, he felt kind of sad about it. And so I could tell he was getting attached. On Monday, it was time to turn the dog back in again. I know that sounds like an exchange of a dress or something, but that was what it was time to do. My mom called and she said, she talked to my husband. She said, what are the chances that we're going to get Rocky back? And my husband answered for both of us, and he said, slim to none. So that was it. We adopted a Yorkie. Those of you who own Yorkies, you know, they are so easy to get attached to. They're just adorable. Their personalities are unlike any other dog breed. Since then, I've gotten into dog grooming. This is the NYX Bear With Me serum, my favorite concealer. Of course, it wouldn't be a video with concealers unless I'd picked one that's too light for me, but I'm trying to finish it up. Rocky was not neutered. He was 18 months old. So if you're going to adopt from the Humane Society, you must have the dog neutered. They paid for it. So they had already set the dog up to be neutered. I took the dog to the vet and went to work. They neutered him. My mom met me there to pick the dog up from being neutered. We decided to keep his name Rocky. That is such a cool name for a little dog. For under eye powder, I'm going to use the e.l.f. Halo Glow Loose Setting Powder. This is my favorite for setting under eyes out of everything. I went to pick him up from the vet, and they brought him in to me, and he was just fresh out of surgery, and he started screaming, and I completely lost it. Didn't realize how attached I was to this dog until he started screaming. So I walked out the door, I had him in my arms, and I just am yelling down the hallway, someone help me, help me, help me. So the vet comes rushing in with his staff, and they have a big smile on their face, and he said, it's just the anesthesia, ma'am. He'll be okay. He said, you need to swaddle him like a baby, and he'll be fine. So he took a towel and wrapped him really tight in the towel, and I held him really close to my body, and he calmed down, went to sleep, did really well. We took Rocky home, and we fell in love with him. We took him everywhere with us. We took him to the mountains. We had a little place up in the North Georgia mountains. He went with us to the mountains. He went with us out on the boat. He went hiking with us. He went on vacations with us. Rocky was our best friend. Unlike Paisley, Rocky was my dog. And he was super attached to me. I'm using the L'Oreal Lumi bronzer. I used the NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop pressed powder for my whole face. This is a little light for me, but I don't want a heavy bronzer look today. And it blends in really well. I'm trying not to cover my face today, so I'm looking more into my screen than at you guys. I'm sorry. I just want you to be able to see what I'm doing. Over the years, we had a couple of other pets, and Rocky was just destined to be an only pet. It just didn't work out at all. And thank goodness we were able to find good homes. We thought he would really enjoy having a companion, but he didn't at all. It was not good for him. I didn't think it was fair to either dog for the rivalry and the disagreements to continue. So he ended up being an only dog, and he just lived for us. So he lived a nice long life, actually. But one night, out of the blue, he went to jump down off of my chair, and his back legs collapsed. And then he started just walking really, really funny and walking sideways and just seemed very unsteady. I'm going to use the e.l.f. Bite Size Blush and Highlighter today. I think this is in the shade Cantaloupe. This is only $3. And you can see the pigment. It's such a good blush. So it was late at night when I noticed this, and he seemed to be breathing fine. He didn't seem to be in distress. He just seemed not to be too steady and to have weakness, especially in his back legs. So my husband talked about it. We decided we'll take him to the vet in the morning since he's not in any distress. He usually liked to sleep in his own bed. He kind of liked his own space. So that night I insisted that he sleep in bed with me, and he seemed to be very content doing so. So the next morning I woke up around 6 o'clock, and he did seem to be in distress. So we scooped him up in a blanket, and we drove him as fast as we could to not our vet, because our vet wasn't open yet. We drove him to another vet just in hopes that they would just take him back as an emergency case. My husband was driving about 70 miles an hour in a 50-mile-an-hour zone, and I had Rocky bundled right up against my chest. And he was just looking up into my eyes, and then he took a last breath and he let out a cry, and that was it. He was gone. So we got to the vet, and they confirmed that he was gone. They thought maybe he had had a stroke. This is the e.l.f. lip liner. The shade is too small for me to read. It's Coral something. And I'm going to use my another Milani lipstick. I need to feature another lipstick, but these just match the tops I'm wearing. Hold, please. Yeah, that matches my top really good. I don't always totally perfectly match my top, but today I thought it would be kind of fun. I'm using my NYX Butter Gloss. I don't wear lip gloss a lot either. I prefer more of a matte or a satin look. So we took Rocky home, and we were trying to decide what we wanted to do. This was so unexpected. I was so devastated and crushed. I think I cried harder than I've ever cried in my entire life over that dog. My husband was worried that I was going to have a heart attack. That's how much grief we were both in. Initially, we decided to bury him, but I just couldn't go through with it. So I took him back to the vet because they were so nice to me when I just walked in. I asked that he be cremated. Of course, now I have a sniffly nose, excuse me. So they did that, and then I made a huge tribute to him on Facebook. I sang a song to him. It's One More Day by Diamond Rio, and I just had my own little funeral service for him. I thought afterwards I really want something of his, and I called the vet, and they gave me a beautiful lock of his hair, which I have on my headboard with his little ashes and a picture of him to this day. The dog changed my life. So that's it. We were never having another dog, right? Where is she? There she is. Never having another dog. The grief was so bad, and I knew Rocky. This is a NYX jumbo stick. I'm going to put it in the water line because my eyes are red today. Kind of brighten things up, you can see right away. The more people that I talked to, the more I became convinced that even though if I asked Rocky, he would say, I don't ever want you to replace me. That would be a Yorkie. He would say, no, I don't want another dog in this house. Ultimately, we decided that we did want another dog. And I'll tell you the story of Paisley in my next video. So that's the story of Rocky. That's what got our whole love of dogs started, particularly the Yorkshire dog. I did a lot of research on Yorkies. They are the descendants of two other types of terriers. And y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but some of their ancestors were the Skye Terrier and the Paisley Terrier. And so when I was searching for a name, that's why I chose Paisley, is because it was a nod to her ancestors. A few years ago, after Rocky died, I was just talking to my husband about hobbies. I did wildlife rehab for a while. By the way, this is the Wet n Wild color icon Quint. I'm going to darken this up a little bit. I'm getting all off track here now because I'm trying to tell stories and put makeup on, and I'm a terrible multitasker. Okay, so we'll put a more bright color here. Wow, we are really going monochrome today, aren't we? I think it's going to turn out really pretty. This doesn't go really deep. This is the deepest color right here. But isn't that a pretty color story? And you can see the pigment. Wet n Wild is my favorite drugstore eyeshadow brand. I also did get one of those hard candy brands, or eyeshadow quads. I've only used it like once, I think, so I don't really know totally how I feel about it. So today, let's just go with one shimmer. Since I'm just going to be running errands and everything, I'm not going to use anything too crazy. That's crazy. I was not expecting that pigment. I haven't used this eyeshadow before. Do y'all see that? Wow, I'm impressed. Okay, so we're going for a glam look today. There we go. How about that? Oh, wow. Okay. I am going to take the lightest color and run it under my eye here. But Yorkies were not initially a dog for the very rich and the elite class. They were little scrappy things. They would go underneath the ground and pull out rabbits and moles and rats and all kinds of stuff. super scrappy, and she loves to play tug, so I can see where she gets that from. Eyeshadow look is complete. So that I could keep drugstore going, I decided to go with my e.l.f. Cookies and Cream black eyeliner again and just use it with my angled brush again. What you doing, girly girl? You getting fidgety? Don't worry, we'll get you ready in a minute. You're just naturally beautiful. It takes mommy a little bit longer. Sorry. I usually don't take it for a day look all the way across my upper eyelid. I just kind of angle it up and then go about halfway. So originally they were just little scrappy farm dogs, basically, with a huge heart, no fear, only 6 or 7 pounds, but they think that they're a mastiff. That's one of the things that endears me to her, is she's got a lot of attitude. Can't believe how glam this face look turned out today. I think her daddy just came home, so if she starts barking, I'm sorry. There we go. Very pretty. Now for brows. I'm going to use today my Koki. I misplaced it over here. This is the Koki eyebrow pencil. And again, the drugstore, man, they're just so good with eyeshadows. Anyway, after Rocky died, I was trying to find just a hobby, something I enjoyed. I love animals. I'm going to hopefully tell some inspiring stories on this channel about animals as we keep going. I love animals. One day, my husband came home and he says, I think I know what you would enjoy doing. I said, what? He said, dog grooming. He says, our friend, Marie, the dog groomer down the street, she needs a little bit of help, and you could learn how to do dog grooming and play with dogs all day and make a little bit of extra money. And I said, I'm not an artistic person. I can't do all these fancy poodle faces and all that kind of stuff. So I went to talk to her and she said, let's just start with like baths and nails and drying and combing and things like that. That's what we did. And she is a phenomenal human being. Just one of the best people I've ever known in my whole life. You ready to go see Daddy? I'm sorry, I'm keeping you. So I just started working Fridays because I had my job with the doctor's office. I started working Fridays and I loved it. When I didn't have, a dog to bathe or whatever, I would sit in a chair that she set up there for me, and dogs would just pile up in my lap. Sometimes I would have 5, 6, 7 dogs in my lap. We worked out of her garage, so there wasn't a kennel. So the dogs just got to play with one another, interact with one another. We had some dog sitting, daily doggy daycare clients. Some of the dogs preferred to be inside with her dogs. Some of the dogs wanted to be outside with all of the noise and all that kind of stuff. I'm almost done, Paisley, and then we get your turn. I enjoyed it so much, but physically it's a really taxing job. I hear you back there, baby girl. I hear you. We're almost done. Okay, that's my look today. I'm not a makeup artist. I just enjoy makeup, and I enjoy telling stories and entertaining and making people happy. This is the e.l.f. setting spray. Coconut. And I made the same mistake I made yesterday, but hopefully the setting spray will not smudge my mascara. So on to Paisley. Her favorite scent at the moment is this Trope Clean Puppy Shampoo. And I don't know if she likes coconut, but her mom likes it. And the medium notes I think would be dead grass. That's what's in the yard. And the base note, I think I smelled it this morning. I think it's a 3-day dead lizard is the base note. That's where she and I disagree on scents, but she's an individual. Come here, Pace. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. I'm not playing with you. This is a request. Come here. Come here. Come here. Okay. Paisley is not in the mood to be groomed today. I completely understand that. So next video, we'll comb Paisley out. I'll show you how to comb and brush a dog with hair that grows instead of fur that falls out. So we'll do that another time because she's feeling a little camera shy over there. So, and she's wanting her daddy. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Hope you had a great day today. Hope you enjoy your weekend. Hope this lighting is a little bit better. Hope I'm getting a little bit better at this whole thing. I'm still not looking at you. I'm still looking at myself. I'm so sorry. We'll get there, you guys, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.